My name is Mark Tonga, and I'm a C3, C4 quadriplegic, 12 years post-injury.
I'm really pleased to be with you again, Mark. You and I have known each other, I don't know, maybe 10 years now, maybe not that long, 5-6 years. And
Sojourners together.
Indeed, yeah, it's really encouraging when you're with a friend and you get to hear each other's stories. So your injury was 12 years ago, Mark. What was the date?
Yeah, we all know our dates. That's like a new birthday.
It is.
Yeah, it's 13th of May.
Right.
2008.
Okay, and so you were how old at that point in time?
About 35.
So what was your life like at that point? What was your sort of passions and interests?
Yeah, look, I just finished, I was on my professional year as an accountant, just playing sports, rugby, living with a partner, preparing to get married. Yeah, life was just motoring along, no real purpose, just trying to fill in time, I guess,
Yeah.
I think reflecting back, at that moment you're just reacting and just living for the day, and no real goal, just a double garage and a nice car. I think that's all we want to at that time,
The Australian dream. Yeah. So how did you incur your injury?
Just through, I played semi-professional rugby and playing with people half my age. I should have retired, but and just on 13th of May, it was just any ordinary day, turned up to training. We had a very good season, very good atmosphere in the club, very competitive, and just going through one of my drills that I usually do, done a million times because of pick and drive. And I think just got a bit enthusiastic in that time and ended up on a tackle where my neck was under my chin, pushed in, which I sustained my injury. Yeah.
Just an everyday training and suddenly life changes.
Yeah, so at that moment I thought I'd be home in about a week. So I thought, oh, well, I've broken every bone in my body, so I was no stranger to hospitals, and I wasn't familiar with spinal injury, and I didn't panic. I just thought I'd just go through the process, get to hospital, do what they have to do, and I'll be home in about a month or so and back to doing the same things. But then as the night wore on and as the weeks wore on, reality starts to get clearer. Things.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we all sort of think, I'm going to be one of these guys who walks out of hospital, who recovers completely. Did you think that?
I think my thinking didn't get that far. I think I didn't really understand the nature of a spinal injury.
Yeah.
It would have been about probably 6 months or so, till I had that conversation with myself. But for me, being less knowledgeable about this sort of injury, it was like, in a month I'll be home. Yeah. Running around as usual.
So yours is a C3 injury. Yes. Just for those who are unfamiliar, what does that mean?
From the cervical, from right at the top is cervical 1. Yeah. So from the third, between my 3 and 4 cervical bone on my neck, it's been bruised and damaged. Not completely dislocated like many people think. Like, oh, you break a neck. It's like in pieces. No, it's the nature of the injury is that it's been heavily bruised and probably dislocated a little bit, and that contributes to the injury. So yeah.
But what level can you? So you can move. You can't move your arms or
so
hands.
Yeah, it's from C3. It's just a neck down. Yeah, neck down. I've got no feeling of movement. Yeah. So from a C3 forward, that's your arms, your diaphragm, lungs, breathing. So I was pretty blessed that with my fitness wasn't ventilated. So I had to fight hard to breathe and learn to breathe again. And that kind of like tipped me over to being not ventilated. But I did.
So there could be other people with your level of injury who need a ventilator.
Yes, yes. I would have, I would have been walking around the machine, but.
Do you find it hard to breathe?
Yes, yes. No, I was more concerned about breathing than walking that time. I think, because I was so close to I died a couple of times, so for me, breathing was the priority. And before moving my arms or walking.
When breathing's hard, you walking secondary.
Yeah. You just the first 6 months, and the first 3 years, breathing was a priority. 4 years. So walking was like, people go, oh, I can't see you, can't wait till you walk. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Sucking in those oxygens, So it was, until,
It's such a big change, isn't it, in life? How did you cope with the grief and loss, or did you not cope with a while? What was the sort of, how did you cope with the grief and the loss, and what was the impact on you, certainly in those early years?
For me, I think it was because I was so concentrated on breathing and staying alive, I didn't have time to grieve, and if I did, it was only for a brief moment. And it was just been staying alive for me, and until I was comfortable to breathe, because don't forget, I was going to be ventilated, so I was sucking in those. The first 3 years I was in hospital. 4 years I was in hospital with pneumonia every winter. The conversation about walking and being in a chair was like secondary. It was like, I got to get over this, this blocks. Staying alive, mate, for me that was it. But then when I got my breathing back, whenever I get a bit of time or break, I did think about the loss. But then it was like reality snapped in, and I'm just breathing again. But now my breathing is fine.
And so do you experience grief today? Have you continued to grieve the loss?
Once I got my breathing maintained, which was probably the second year. Then I arrived home, and I think then I had time to grieve. Just fell into a depression for a little bit. And my partner, things at home weren't stable, so I had a lot of things happening. To deal with.
So you were in a relationship, you said, getting toward marriage, and then the spinal cord injury hit you, and that relationship lasted?
No, unfortunately, we parted ways about my second year, when I arrived home. So.
And do you think that was the relationship itself, or that really was one of the effects of the spinal cord injury, the challenges of living with the injury?
It was a culmination, I think the spinal tipped it over. It was just, just a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. Many things were involved in, but mainly, pre-injury stuff, kind of brought it over to my injury, and my injury just amplified everything. Like I think there were fractures there before my injury, and the injury just amplified everything. It's like tipping water into a jug, and you can start seeing the leaks. And that was like, and she was God bless her. She was, I don't blame her, but at that moment in time, I was just like, I need you now, I need you, don't go. But then, it is what it is, and
So you were dealing with the loss of spinal cord injury, the loss of a relationship, feeling pretty down.
Oh yeah, I was. And then I had a couple operations. My lungs were filling up with water. I had to go in and get my lungs stitched up. Had a tear in my lung. Had a pressure sore, which left me in bed for 9 months. So Yeah, I had everything, mate. Yeah.
It's sort of, I mean, I can picture it, but knowing you now for the last, 5 or 6 years, you are such a positive person. You live the big life in many ways. What was the transition for you? How did you move from that really tough few years to
I had to change my environment. I had to change. I had to extricate myself out of my house, which brought me a lot of memories. The area, which brought me a lot of memories. My family, and moving here, allowed me to start again, reborn again. And it didn't mean it was over. It's just like removing myself from my old life, and the reminders, of what it was. And I think I picked up the phone and I called, SCIA, peer support, and I said, look, I'm looking for a place to move, like at night, I need 24-hour care, and the government couldn't provide that for me. And I had my family members who were obligated, and I just didn't want no one, being a burden to me, and I just wanted to, everyone just felt like they had to be, looking after me, and I was an independent man, like 35 years, mowed the lawn, did everything, and now I'm, at the mercy of people, like, and it wasn't good for my spirit, it wasn't good for my psyche, So, yeah, praise the Lord, like, there was an opening at this house here in Chatswood, and I came here, and this was a shithole because, this wasn't like this, but I'll tell you that's another story. And, North Shore, I grew up in the West, West, bought a house at Fairfield, and I grew out there, and this was another country.
during the snobs on north of the bridge, mate?
I didn't realise where I was. I just Chatswood. I've been here once, but but I just I need another,
New start.
So I moved here, and about 10 years ago, and made new friends, and just left my old life behind, and started rebuilding.
Yeah, that's great. So when you think about that rebuilding, are there any sort of positive changes, or what is the personal growth that you've experienced, sort of despite your injury or because of your injury or through the challenges that you've had?
Oh, look, a lot of changes. For me, I managed to, through the grace of God, like go stronger spiritually, go stronger mentally, but not physically, and it does not mean I'm there. It just means that I'm working on it every day. I'm aware of it. Many people saying, like, I can't wait till you walk, but I was walking, but I was spiritually broken, and mentally depleted, but physically awake, And I thought to myself, no, I'm comfortable. I'm physically broken, but mentally stronger, and my mind is even, and those two, I think, is worth more than being physically, awakened. Like it's, you're just like an, empty vessel, man. How many people you walk on the road, mate? Just walking around like zombies, mate. Just, I'll go down Chatswood, mate, just look around, mate. All zombies, mate.
So it's very intriguing. So you were spiritually and mentally broken, and now you're the opposite. So how has that transition occurred? What is it that's enabled you to heal spiritually and mentally?
Oh, look, as you probably gathered, I'm a man of faith, and I grew up in the church when I was young. My grandmother used to drag me to church, kicking and screaming. When they babysit, and that was part of my grandmother and grandfather. That was routine,
Are you Tongan, Mark?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Tongan family.
Tongan family,
Christian
so-
family. Yeah.
I immigrated here and my family came here when I was 13, so I had fond memories growing up with my grandparents. Like everyone else, they just take you to grandparents and leave you there, and it was great times. And they had a routine. My grandmother at 5 o'clock church every Monday, Wednesday, Methodist. Sundays. They were missionaries. So I grew up in that foundation. They were great examples for me. And being a young, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, you don't grasp, what it's all about. You just, grudgingly go along with the journey, but
Forced to church.
But the spiritual and the words that come through without your knowledge, feeding your spirit, it's you can't measure it. And Sunday school, So I had to dig deep down to those things, those memories, And she prayed for my soul, and I used to say to her, look, why do you waste your time praying for me? I should say, it's my prayers that's keeping me alive. And it always resonated with me, that one.
Yeah.
It's my prayers that's keeping you guys alive. She used to supplicate for herself for us, and I got to Australia and big lights, King's Cross, everything just light up at a young boy who's just come from a third world country where there's nothing going, and you just muck around, and I fell off the tracks basically, and just did whatever I wanted, lived in pride, lived in ego, and didn't listen to my parents, and did my own thing. But my heart always yearned about going back to back to the to that place of peace, that place where my grandmother found. Half of me was yearned, but the other half was, no, you're all right, you're all right, and up to my stages, it just I can't live like this. I need to posture myself, reposition myself back to those times where.
So the spinal cord injury sort of forced you to think about these things in a way that it hadn't before, or gave you the opportunity to think about these things.
Talk about amplifying things, it just slowed me right down, made me reprioritise, and having an encounter in my coma, with a spiritual,
Yeah, God, you encountered God or the Spirit.
I had a spiritual encounter in my coma,
Yeah.
And as I said, I died, a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because it was, the C3 is your lungs, and breathing, was a problem for me, 2 and 3. So the first month in ICU was just everything and trying to get me to breathe. I don't know about you, but I was in a coma for the first 2 weeks, so just my body was just slowly shutting down, And in that time, I made my spiritual encounter. I met some, I had an encounter, and in that exchange, I came out of it. I could have gone either way. I was in this light, and around me was just pitch black dark, and this darkness was just calling me, calling me, and I was really lonely, and I was really afraid, And there was this light that was very comforting, But then I needed someone to be, to hold my hand, and the dark voice, and the voice in the darkness was just calling me, come, very soothing, comforting, But I knew the light was safe. I knew it. Just innate, deep down. And something just said, look, if you move, just stay here. You'll be all right, you know. And, but that, you know, that soothing call was just too good to be true, you know. And, yeah. And praises, you know, when I managed to get through that encounter and I didn't go, I decided to, you know, when I woke up, that if I said, Lord, you know, if you get me out of this, I'll give my life to you, you know, like, I will follow your ways. Just give it another go, you know. I'm not ready to go. Yeah. I'm not ready to die. I want to, you know, like, you know, just give me another chance of, you know, we talk about works and stuff like that in the book, yeah, but I wanted to do something that, you know, that will, you know, turn my life around, yeah. And that was one of the main keys for me to, you know, of getting over this thing was, yeah, that promise and that, yeah, exchange I had because I was, yeah, saved by that, yeah, moment. And, you know, like, you can call it whatever you call it, but for me, I know what it is. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say what it is, yeah. And, you know, I didn't see no faces, I didn't see, but it was, yeah, you know, it was, yeah, special to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. The idea that you encounter the Spirit in crisis is a lovely, and obviously for you, a life-changing experience.
Yeah, and, you know, coming out, yeah, then I spent, you know, the first 5 years of my life, you know, reprogramming my mind, you know, and trying to, like, not trying to do things, but just reprogram my spirit, reprogram my thoughts, you know, because I told you, you know, like, I fell off the tracks, and those thoughts and training are still in you, you know, like, you know. Yeah. So you have to cleanse that out of you, and that, I think that helped me with my journey as on the chair, because I had a mission, I had a purpose, you know. It wasn't go out and evangelize anything, it was just, you know, live your life and, you know.
Develop your own character.
Yes. Yeah. And,
yeah.
And grew, you know, and it's still growing, not there yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So you think about the positive impact of the injury on your meaning and purpose, and we'll come back to that. But what about negatively? Can you think of, did the injury negatively impact on your meaning and purpose in life or not?
No.
Because you didn't really feel like you had a strong meaning and purpose before the injury, is that, or you'd lost the meaning and purpose? So,
well, look, I think it made me just, you know, value life and value everything, you know.
Yeah.
I did not, you know, value and brought me closer to, you know, to walking the path, you know. It's something that I yearned to do, but, you know, didn't know how to, you know. Yeah. I think it was just laziness and yeah, and I think, you know, this way, but I don't think there's anything negative. I think it's the best thing that's happened to me. Yeah, it's the best things happened to me, and I say that, you know. You know, like, I don't say it because I have troubles. Yes, you know, I have troubles, you know, pain and, you know, all that stuff. But, you know, spiritually and mentally, you know, how better off I am. I think, you know, it's, you know, and how I progressed in life, you know, and the people I met along the journey. It was a beautiful journey. You know, I met so many good friends, lost many friends, but, you know, the friends I've made, you know, are even much better, you know. And, you know, for me, I think it's a beautiful journey for me. And there were times of, you know, pain and things, and I don't think about, you know, what could have or what not, you know. Never did. I just got to say, well, I got to make this, you know. I got to make it happen. Figure out a way to make it happen. Just do it.
It's, I mean, it's an extraordinary thing to sit here and I know you, so I believe you, but I can just imagine people watching this and thinking, goodness me, look at the level of his injury, and yeah.
You know, and it is what it is, you know. It is what it is, and it's like, you know, like, I see people running, but hey, you know, like, there's things I can do that they can't do. I can run, but yeah, but, you know, it's just finding what I can do, doing good, you know, like.
So what does make life meaningful for you then today? What do you get up in the morning for? What are you passionate about?
Oh, I get up in the morning, I thank God he's given me another day to get up.
That's true.
And But now I found myself working. I'm in in a disability policy, and I work in that space. I study now. So
You're doing a business masters?
yeah, I'm doing an MBA at the University of New South Wales.
Yeah.
I've got a scholarship to do it. All $86,000 of it. So
You've had lots of political connections, including with our current premier, for example.
well, she's my local member, so
Tell us one or two of your successes dealing with with Gladys.
People think like I know her personally. It's great having her as my local member because I'm a voting member, so I go knock knock. Hey Gladys, I voted for you, so But
one of the stories that interests me that people might like to hear about is the local train station.
yeah, look, I had a friend who lived down at our time, and she drives a chair up here to Chatswood, to do shopping, or she has to drive to St Leonard's, next station down. And there's no lifts to the station, so I thought, oh well, we'll see what we can do. So I got my carers all stood down there with a board and pen and gathered some signatures, and we managed to collectively gather about 10,000 signatures. Not me, but other people too, and we took it to Gladys, and Gladys was, hey, I've got 10,000 of my constituents here who could kick me out of kick me out of Parliament in the next election, and it amplified, and we said, look, it'd be a good idea to put a lift. The policy is they put a lift every second station, or big stations. Our time it's a really big station, and all the stars were aligned, praise God, and she put a lift in, and I only used it once.
No, that's really interesting. Anything else that you're sort of passionate about, Mark?
Look, it's just I think just navigating. I found it difficult to navigate the system, and when I came out of my interest, another thing I had to deal with was finding my way through the bureaucratic system to get support from it. And I found that really challenging, and I'm like, I think I've got a bit of a brain, and I thought, if I find this difficult, who else will find it difficult? And so I did a bit of volunteer work as an advocate, and did that for about a year or two. Found out the matters are pretty common, all it needed was some systemic changes, policy changes. So I thought, why am I wasting my time down here putting out fires, mate? I need to climb a bit higher. Climb a bit higher and tug someone's tail and say, hey, So for me personally, I think, if one thing's changed, you need to climb, get closer to the sun, mate, or power makers, and nudge them and annoy them to change, these whatever systems, and that will flow downstream and help those. So I've been doing that for the last 10 years, and became good at it. So and then now I had to go to school, just to improve my skills in that area. So I'm doing an MBA, just to give me a little bit more, some tools, some suites of tools to go and battle these bureaucrats, who are.
Are you enjoying the study?
Oh yeah, I love my studies. It's
expanding the mind is another great way of finding more meaning and purpose. And
more importantly, it's an area where the only person with disability was someone who was deaf, and the bureaucrats had to deal with at uni. I just thought, man, it was very difficult, But then I thought, I just thought there's going to be hundreds of other people with disability coming after me. So if I back down from this fight, so now I'm just pushing it because half of it to reach my goal, but also just for the point of saying to be a mentor to other people with disability, that you can come through, and we'll teach these university people to start having their systems in place. The arguments I have to have with these people, it's just like it's just like sport, You got to reprogram these people, Science is pushing people like me out the door of hospitals. They're making us live longer. So I think, the government and the community and, the attitudes, it's time to shift with that. Gone are the days 20 years ago when they used to, hide people like you and I in nursing homes, and tell us to watch the paint dry. We might have broken bodies, but our mind still functions. We've still got something to do, we've got value. We can add to the community. We can add to the economy. Pay taxes. You pay taxes. I pay taxes. We can add value. We're not useless. They tell us in hospital and all these people that, just go home and you're going to die soon, That's not a conversation you should be telling people. You say, look, you can still do things. They've got to change the narrative in hospitals and rehabs. Give people hope. Not these, I had a doctor whisper in my ear when I was in a coma. Oh, it's a shame. I bet you were a stellar rugby player, but you won't be walking. And I was in my coma and I said, you prick. I'm going to come back and show you.
Yeah.
But I think he said that on purpose because that,
motivated you.
It's just like, I can't wait to have my eyes to see who you are. Prick, where are you?
It's interesting, Mark, because one of the things I love about you is you're a positive person, but you're also a fighter.
Well, it's just like, what right does he have to whisper in my ear? Like, for all the million things in the English vocabulary he could have said, he could have just said something nice. The power of words, And it goes through rehab, it goes through everything. We've got to change the narrative of how we are. Life is life. As long as you still got breath, you can still contribute.
That's great. When you think about your own personal development, your sort of character, your strengths, and you look back at who you've become, what are you most proud of about yourself, about what you've, about your self-development, about the person you are today?
I think I'm just proud that I just got up every day and just did things, You just got to get up. Get up, that's a goal. Get in the chair, that's a goal. Everything's a goal. Having something to tell, that's a goal. And people look at the big things and go, but every little thing I achieve is a goal and I celebrate it, And I just look at the little things. All the little things all add up to big things, So I think I'm just proud of that that I just get up. It's hard to get up and say, I don't want to get out of bed today. You just got to fight to get out of bed. I get out of bed, I feel like a shower. You got to fight to have a shower. Just do it, So, I think it gives you a little sense of achievement, a sense of, but that's personal, but, I don't know.
What about what weaknesses have you had to work on, or do you still need to work on?
Plenty of weaknesses. My first weakness is acknowledging my weaknesses, knowing I have weaknesses, and working on it every day, acknowledging it and saying, look, this is a weakness, My working with bureaucrats was a weakness, so I went and enlisted myself in a course. So I can build that weakness up, strengthen it up. I didn't go to do that course to strengthen up what I'm good at. I went there so they can examine me and I can self-examine myself and say, okay, Mark, you're good at that, don't work on that. Work on these areas, and I want people to tell me what areas I am. So that's my weakness, Looking at my weakness and working on it,
Yeah. As you look back over your life, what relationships and friendships have been important to you flourishing now, and what is it that makes them important?
Yeah, look, I met, I've met 3 people in my life that's changed my life. 4 people, First of all, my Uncle Colin, and my trustees, Bruce Corlett, Andrew Chalk, and Mel Mawson. Those 4 people have been, and been, the pillars of my, like, talk about support, friendship, mentorship, guidance. I hit the jackpot, mate, and I've been blessed. God sent me some people that managed to, like, you look at me and say, look, I managed to pull my bootstraps, and I had some really good, support. Not in a wife or anything, but it's just people who deeply concerned about my welfare, deeply concerned about my journey. And they say I'm their inspiration, but not. We inspire each other. Because for them, they see me battling on, and for me, there are people I can look at and say, look, these are the people I want to be like, and work towards.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all my tongue doing things. It's just God sent me some really, really, really good people that were able to.
I like that though, because you're probably underemphasising your own part there, because you say they've empowered you and given to you, but you've also inspired them, and so it's this rich two-way relationship, isn't it? You've got to be friendly to get those sort of friends.
Well, just grace of God. They found, they came, they gave me value back into doing something, value myself, value, they gave it back to me, and they're giving me that a lot.
A lot of people who have a spinal cord injury, because they've lost the physical ability, they get right into wheelchair sports, or in your situation, what are the activities that you do other than your advocacy or your study?
That's the problem. That's the problem, Shane. Advocacy and my study is my sport. I use my mind, and I love sport. Sporting is I grew up playing sport, but because I can't do it physically, my battlefield of my game is Gladys, is Scott Morrison, is all those bureaucrats, because just getting the win, getting trained up, getting prepared, getting for the ambush, that's getting that lift is like, that's it, Getting the next lift is sport.
I love that.
And that's just me rephrasing the whole thing and dictating the whole game. They use their bodies, I use my mind. Prior to that, I was using my brawn instead of my mind to play. Kept running into walls. But I thought, now I can't do it. I'm exercising the muscle between my ears. Every email I press send, mate, I was like, it's a trap, mate. It's coming. Strategizing, framing. I told you my secret now, so the secret's out. But that is my sport, Shane.
Brilliant. I mean, you still are connected to. I see photos of you often with rugby. How you?
One of my sports is when I came to the South here, we lobbied the government. We got about $500,000 to renovate this house. I told you it was a piece of shit. I came here, it was like dump. And I said, okay, let's play. We took us about 2-3 years. Lobbied, and then praise the Lord, they moved us out to Ferguson Lodge when you came to see me, and they renovated the whole thing, timber floors, painted the walls, but more than $500,000.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Then every time I look at it, this is my trophy,
That's the best trophy, one you get to live in.
Too bad I don't have it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
But it's that's my sport. Any as you say, I'm a fighter. Anything that's too hard or impossible, or I can't do, or okay, new game,
That's brilliant. Well, look, we're getting near the end of time, so I'll ask you a question. I think I've already guessed the answer to this one, but and you and I have actually talked about this years ago. But if you had your life again and could go back to that rugby training session and not miss the session that day, so to avoid the spinal cord injury. Would you go back in time and change that?
No. Because I wouldn't have met the people I met now. I wouldn't have grown stronger spiritually. I wouldn't have thought about doing an MBA. I wouldn't have, this is the price of a spinal, and it was a heavy price to pay for it. But it was a price that, if I didn't pay for it, it would have been a different Mark. It would have been a Mark who, was selfish, who was, looking inwards, who was, not productive to the community, didn't think about, growing spiritually, didn't think about growing mentally. And was just consuming. He would have been just taking and not giving. You're interested in me, Shay. This is an opportunity. You wouldn't have been interested in me if I was in the chair. If I was just walking on the street there, you wouldn't want to talk to me. I met done some interesting projects, and my life, has opened up another world for me. This injury, I met some, met the Premier. I would never met the Premier. I would have been stuck in the western suburbs still, eating fried chicken, mate. I met the Premier. I would have met the Prime Minister. Met, Prince William. Prince William. Didn't meet him. He walked past me. I went to say hello, but the guards got in front of me. Bastards. Could have got a selfie with him. All the opportunities that came with this chair. I know everyone's not the same experience with me. They're not. I know people in chairs. Who are struggling, and their story's not. I'm not saying you're going to have my story and my life. But the grace of God, and I don't know. It's just this wheelchair here has got me to places I've never even been to. Met the governor. I went to the governor house. Think I would have got there with no chair? Yeah, Barclays. It's just this wheelchair here has opened up doors for me.
Yeah. I'm sure that's true, but also because of who you are and who you've become. It's a combination of both.
And I say not everyone, but it was a heavy price to pay, and it was worth it. And I look at people running, and I miss going for a swim. A lot of things I miss. But I just those idle times. You fruit black. Going for a bushwalk, or fishing, there's many things, but those are just idle things, mate,
You've been able to access the deeper things.
Absolutely, not horizontal, but not vertical, mate, and it's those deep experiences that I've had, which I'll never experience walking, and when you're walking, you need to be. I don't think I would have found it,
So if you, we'll finish up now, but if you had to give any advice to a person who's struggling in that sort of early stages of the injury, trying to work out how to adjust, what would be your one sort of main piece of advice for them?
Yeah, look, it's a very, challenging times, early times of the injury, and I just, pray to God that, you'll find your way through, just keep walking through, mate, Get that cloud over you, there's a cloud over you and a lot of things are happening, but, just keep waking up, keep going, you'll get out of the tunnel, you'll get out of it. I think that's for me is the last words is just keep going forward, and if you hit a wall, just go sideways, go over it, but just keep going forward, 1 foot at a time, 1 day at a time, and you'll start getting clearer, brighter and better, so I think that's probably something I can leave with your clients. Don't give up.
Thanks for your time, Mark. Really appreciate it.